And I heard at the beginning of the weekend that there were either calls or people called them. I think with the Canucks, it's always people called them.
That seems to be.
They ever make calls? But Gudbranson's name was making the rounds when I first got there. But then they draft Hughes, and I can just see them thinking, like, okay, we got the 5'10" guy. We've got another 5'10" guy in Stetcher. We can't trade Gudbranson. He's the one big guy that they have, right? Like, I can definitely see them thinking that through. And then if you're taking that avenue, if you're worried about who Hughes is going to play with in a year or 2 years from now, then you have to worry about who's he going to be paired with, right? Like, they want him on the left side. Yoel Levy's on the left side. Sure as fuck don't want him playing with Gudbranson. Like, that's my nightmare.
Right, and I know where you're going with
Quinn Hughes comes into this league and has to play with Gudbranson. Like, God help us all. Kill me now. I do not ever want to see that. So then that leads me down to that, shit, he's got to play with Chris Tanev. Like, what other, unless they go out and acquire a stable, reliable defenseman, and they may, like, all of this may happen, because I know that we both know, they want to change this defense. They do not want it to look like it does right now when the season starts.
That's fine. You can say it a billion times until they actually do something about it. Like,
right.
That's what worries me.
They will. They're going to do. I don't.
Because
next week.
Well, but
this week they are going to do something. It's not going to be the same. It can't be. I'm not going to do it.
Not on my watch. Hang on, you were going to walk away after 3 years. Now it sounds like you're going to walk away after free agency. But like, there's so much focus on center, and they need help at center. But you look at the left side. Like, they need help there. Like, they have to be in on some sort of left winger, I think, as well. They got Berchi and they got Leipzig on the left wing, and then it's like Gauntz. Like, that's your left wing for the Vancouver.
Erickson can play left.
Well, we don't know where Erickson's going to play or who he's going to
play
play with, or he can play left. You're right. And but I think they're looking at the center. I think if they can find a guy that could help them on the left side, I think they should be looking there in unrestricted free agency. It wouldn't surprise me if somehow they wound up with another defenseman through all of this.
Yeah, right.
But they need another. But this crazy log jam, right. You can't just keep adding unless you're at some point you do have to subtract because. You know, they can talk extension with Edler. It wouldn't surprise me if they signed a contract with Alex, like an extension for Alex Edler at some point. Like, this isn't working. Like, at some point you have to reshape that blue line.
Right.
And I keep waiting for it to happen. Didn't happen at the draft. Tanev's still here, and now I can totally see where you were, painting that picture of, Quinn Hughes, perfect defense partner, like long-term extension for Tanev when his deal comes up.
Right, but I'm not sure Tanev
wants any part of that.
I right now I would answer that question with no. So
and on the grit and toughness and
well, here's the other thing. You point out all these they need help in the wing, top six. Well, they need a top 9 center. Need an offense can produce offense. And what's Jim out there talking about is we got to get more grit and toughness.
But Travis said that too when I talked to him. And so look, Travis Green. We know how much he played.
Travis said that, but I don't care what Travis said. If I'm the general manager, it does not matter. I would not care what a coach. You cannot let a coach dictate your personnel decisions. And all of a sudden you end up with Lyndon Vey in your power play. You're trading a third for Derek Dorsett. No, you can't let. I know that Travis wants grit and toughness. I know he thinks the team was soft all year long, and I totally get where he's coming from. But from a team personnel side of it, you can't be focused heading into the next 2 weeks on grit and toughness. You can't.
That's fine, but the Washington Capitals just won the Stanley Cup with Tom Wilson and Devontae Smith-Pelly, and they had Brooks Orpik, and they had guys that, so yes, they won the Cup with skill, but they had these guys that, I mean, you're sort of at the leading edge of this, the old hockey guys and these ways of thinking.
Right.
Like, that's what people will point to. Ryan Reeves played this role for Vegas. He couldn't get in at the very end. Like when
I heard at the draft, I heard one GM told his group, like, we've got to get a Smith-Pelly.
Yeah.
And someone said, what, a guy that does nothing all season?
That's the worry.
Shouldn't be too hard. Those guys are available.
Right, but Travis Green, leaned heavily on Derek Dorsett until Dorsett couldn't play anymore. Then there was months there where they hated how soft they were and they were getting pushed around. Yeah. And then Darren Archibald shows up and plays. And quite frankly, I don't think Darren Archibald did enough in his audition.
No.
Like, he would have had a contract by now from the Canucks if they thought he was the answer. But remember, too, last year, Ryan White brought in on a PTO,
Yeah.
like that kind of player.
Yeah.
I absolutely expect that the Vancouver Canucks in free agency are going to go, whether it's Antoine Roussel or there were a couple of guys out there.
Your boy Jay Beagle's going to get it done.
But I don't think Beagle, I think Beagle's a good defensive center who embraced sort of the fourth line. Like, I don't see him as a shit disturber and a guy that's out there looking for trouble. There were other guys.
He's not soft. He's not going to be.
No, he plays hard. Yeah. But in terms of a guy that's willing to mix it up and stand up for teammates and those types, I think it would scare me. But a guy like Cody McLeod is available as an unrestricted free agent. It wouldn't surprise me if that kind of name. And this is just speculation on my part. I'm not saying there's anything to link Cody McLeod, who, quite frankly, I thought had played himself out of the NHL, but it wouldn't surprise me. In fact, I'm expecting that some player that fits that mold will be among the Canucks free agent signings here in the next week.
Yeah, I mean, I think it certainly sounds like that's the direction that they've been going for some time. But it's not going to make them any better. It's not going to help them in terms of getting points.
No, but would you rather have a guy that has some degree of pushback in his game or Brendan Gaunce on your fourth line? Those are some of the decisions. And I know we're not solving their problems by looking at their fourth line here, but, when you look at the makeup of the hockey club, is there a spot for Brendan Gaunce in?
I'd probably rather, depending on the guy, I may rather Gaunce. I'd rather wish he was more physical, but he doesn't get. Generally controls play when he's on the ice. They control possession when he's playing. There are a lot of worse fourth liners to me out there than Brendan Gaunce. I think he's a fine fourth liner. I'd be fine with him.
But doesn't he kind of? You could say the same things about him that you could say about Devontae Smith-Pelly in the regular season.
Anything all year. Yeah.
So we'll see where we go. I mean,
these guys are coveted now. Everyone's chasing a Smith-Pelly. They got one right here in Vancouver. Doesn't do anything all year.
Well, who's that team that wanted one? Maybe there's a deal to be had then.
Right.
But something has to happen. They can't continue to stockpile. At some point, this team has been bad for 3 years. What they've got here isn't working. The defense, to me, is the poster child for so many of the Canucks' problems. But I keep waiting. Now the draft has gone by. Another opportunity for trades. We talked about the trade
but nothing
deadline.
really it's hard to criticize them for that because
nothing went down. I agree.
It clearly was not a fertile ground for player transactions. I want to be mad that nothing happened in terms of rejigging this roster or in terms of even trying to trade some of these vets for middle round draft picks. You can't tell me that they couldn't have traded one of these guys for some kind of mid round pick, right?
I would have thought so too.
Get another third, get Wise and Madden in the third. I mean, there must have been options. There had to have been options there, and I know that, obviously team has said it before. Teams were interested in Sutter. Tanev I get because the offers have been low. From what I've seen, they've been low, and I understand that one. You can't just give Chris Tanev away.